If you really want to level up your life, start going out alone. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Camille, your internet big sister, where personal growth meets leveling up in style with substance and soul at the center. Go to outings and events alone. I know it sounds simple, but it's one of the most powerful things you can do for your growth, because when you go out alone, you don't need to hide behind anyone. You're not making small talk with the same people that you already know. It puts you in a position where you are forced to step into a room as you, fully, unfiltered, authentic, and undistracted. I say this because when I started out as a blogger, this was back in what year? I want to say it was 2014, 2015. I would go to events by myself, whether it was fashion shows, beauty events, workshops, because what that does is it allows me to show up as me. I don't need to hide behind anyone. And it forces me to have conversations with people. If I make eye contact with somebody, I'll wave and then we'll spark up a conversation, because you can't lean on anyone. You can't. And even though I was nervous, I had to tell myself in my head, Camille, you belong in these rooms, you deserve to be here, and you are going to meet someone very important. And quite frankly, some of the most important people that I've met on my journey was from going to events alone. I've met clients for my business. I've met people who are influential, who are smarter than me, who have more knowledge, who are willing to pass down that knowledge to me. And also, ladies too, if you want to start dating again, I recommend you go by yourself, because when you go with your girlfriends, that tends to create some competition, because they think that you're getting all the attention from a particular guy means that they should be getting that same attention too. And listen, there are women out here who are malicious, but that's for another video. I'm not here to talk about that, but it is definitely applicable in dating. If you want to level up your dating options, your dating experiences, it's just best that you go alone. But back to the topic at hand. It was last weekend, I went to a Cadillac event where I got to test drive a new Cadillac EV model. And I went by myself, and I remember texting one of my friends who we were planning on going out for dinner at this bougie restaurant downtown. But then I brought up, hey, there's a Cadillac event. Do you want to go? And she's like, oh, let me get back to you. Turns out she had to go to another function, which was totally fine. And I was not offended at all. I said, you know what, girl, all good. I'll just go by myself. And it was one of those events where when you think of Cadillac, you think of luxury and elegance and leveling up, because Cadillac is a very timeless and luxurious model of vehicle. And so I put on my best outfit. If you look at one of my YouTube shorts, I did a short mini vlog. Y'all, I was wearing a short skirt, high heels, and I just felt so beautiful, elegant, and that I deserve to be in these spaces. And so I go to the Cadillac event. Everyone there is wearing suits, dresses. They are dressed to the nines. And I'm like, you know what? I belong here. I park my car in the parking lot and slowly make my way over to the front entrance. And when I enter the venue, I see this beautiful, tall, elegant woman just at the door, getting people in and also giving them their, what do you call it? Their lanyards, because it's a VIP event. She looks at me and she goes, oh my goodness, you look amazing. I said, thank you so much. And she says, just for that, I'm going to upgrade your ticket, because on their website, you can buy tickets based on different categories. So you can buy a ticket to go to the red carpet. You can buy tickets to get the full experience with the test drive, as well as have access to all levels of the building, because it was 3 or 4 stories. Y'all, it was crazy. And so I had bought tickets just for the red carpet experience and a test drive of one of the models. And she says, no. You look great. You're dressed well. I can tell you carry yourself well. Let me upgrade your ticket. And the ticket that she upgraded me to was valued at $100. And I said, bet, girl, thank you so much. And I ended up having the best time of my life. I got to test drive one of the electric vehicles, and one of the Cadillac salesmen was really nice. We had a great conversation about cars, Cadillac, and just the history behind it. And me being naturally curious, I like to ask questions, whether about people, whether about the event, just little things like that, because when you ask questions, it tends to prolong the conversation. I had the best time, and of course I networked. I met some pretty important people who were content creators, who were business owners, and it was just an overall good time. I got to introduce myself. I got to provide an elevator pitch and really get me out of my comfort zone. And I left with a bunch of new connections and a possible collaboration opportunity. The way I was dressed, from the way I interacted and engaged with people, as well as being naturally curious. It took years for me to learn this, but you have to start somewhere and gradually build up. It gave me more confidence than I had came with initially. Now, do you think this would have happened if I had waited for someone to go with me? Because here's the harsh truth. When you wait around for people, you're going to be waiting forever. Time's gonna pass by. Opportunities that were crafted, curated, and meant for you are going to slip away. And in order to get comfortable, it requires you to be uncomfortable for a bit. Because the next level is not supposed to be comfortable. It's not going to hold your hand. However, it will open doors to the version of you who dares to walk in alone. Whether it's going to a gallery opening, a brand launch, a brunch, a seminar, a masterclass, a private dinner, go by yourself. Look at the high caliber people that you see and just study them and go, okay, how do they get into these spaces? What do they have to do? And I guarantee 98% of those high caliber people that you look up to and aspire to be like, they most likely had to enter those big rooms by themselves where they felt like ants and they had little to no knowledge. And they probably networked with someone who is super important, who got them to the next level or gave them advice or mentored them in any shape or capacity. So even if you feel like the odd one out, even if you overthink your name tag and your posture, whether anyone will talk to you, just do it. Go alone. Because when you go alone, you're telling yourself that you trust yourself. And quite frankly, in this day and age, the only person you can trust is yourself. And if you're someone who believes in a higher power, yes, lean on that higher power as well. But you have to trust yourself. If you don't trust yourself, how are you going to attract better opportunities and options? I went to a business event in a different city. I was flown out to speak on a panel. I was by myself on the plane in the airport in my hotel room. Do you think I was scared? No, I actually wasn't afraid at all, because I had trust and faith that I was going to meet people who were important, who were innovative and influential. And I did. When I was leaving my hotel that morning to go to the venue, I ended up running into one of the panelists who is not only hosting the panel that I'm on, but is a public speaker and at one point did a TED Talk. And we had a great conversation, and it was great to hear his story and how he got his start. He was on several TV shows and he was so down to earth. And when I got to the venue, I met even more people who had influence, who were business owners, who had a lot of knowledge and insights that I would never even think of. And I was like, you know what? Hell yeah. And not once did I feel alone, because I trust and faith in myself. And that's what matters. So ladies, you don't need a +1. You need purpose. You need confidence. You need self-mastery, and you need faith in who you are becoming. So go to those events alone. Not to prove anything to the world, but to prove something to yourself. Because the woman that goes alone, she's not lonely, she's focused. Your next chapter requires boldness, curiosity, and unshakable self-worth and trust. And when you start moving like that, that's where you reap all the blessings. And life starts meeting you there. Comment below your thoughts and make sure to like, comment, and subscribe.